You, the great thing about you is that you were involved in big money fights. I can't remember you ever ducking anybody, Tony.
Thank you very much. Do you know what? It was very hard at the start of my career because I was always just labelled as a mouthy scouser, and no one thought I was much of a good boxer or what have you. So I had to not create a persona, but I had to. You either had to hate me or love me. I had to make you notice me, and that's what I always understood with boxing. Sometimes it's got to be a good guy, sometimes it's got to be a bad guy. I don't mind which one you want me to play as long as I'm going to get paid. So uh, I was just, I don't know. I went out there and I understood what the public wanted. I mean, it's lovely when two fighters come together, they shake hands and they say, "May the best man win." Well, that wasn't going to work for me, in all honesty. So I understood the public out there. They want to see two guys who can't stand each other. They want to see two guys maybe have a roll around on the floor. One gives another one a slap. One throws a drink over the other one. It's people will say it's pantomime. It looks if when you're watching it on the telly, but believe you me, there's no pantomime when I'm in a press conference and I'm trying to annoy someone.
Yeah.
So I understood that's what made people tick and what made them buzz. I don't think it was until the David Haye fights where people really seen the other side of me. That because everybody thought I was just taking the David Haye fight for money, and don't get me wrong, a huge part of it was money, massively, because once I become world champion, in an ideal world, Gary, I'd have loved to have just retired. But the fact of the matter was, as I said to my missus, after I won the world title in Goodison Park, we wake up, it's bank holiday Monday, and she says, "Are you done now? Are you going to stop?" And I was like, "No, we can't stop because I'm so far away from financial security as was when we started. We haven't paid for our house yet. It's not all done. And at this stage, I've done everything I could do. I've been British Commonwealth, European, and World Champion, and I haven't even bought my own house. So what I did say was, these next few years of my career, it's going to be purely about money. And I'm going to fight guys. Don't get me wrong, I'm never going into a fight where I don't think I can win because I think I can beat everybody, as you always do. But I will make the correct fights for the correct money. And David Haye just had a huge target on his head for me. He wanted to play games back and forth with the banter and other stuff. But for me, I knew I could beat him. And when you speak to David Price later, David Price will tell you about the first time I ever met David Haye. We sparred together. David Haye paid us. I just won the 2003 or 4 ABAs. I'd become ABA champion. David Price was ABA champion. David Haye was looking for sparring partners. He was on the verge of fighting Mark Hobson for the British Cruiserweight title. He'd ran out of sparring partners in London, so he drove down to Liverpool and he sparred me and David Price in the Salisbury ABC. And David found out exactly that day who I was. And he found out who David Price was. David Price hit him so hard with the right hand, he spun him 360 degrees, something I've never seen anyone ever do before or again since. I jumped in the next round after, gave him a clip, and David Haye took a knee. So he knew, and the minute that sparring session finished, this must have been 15 years ago now, David Price will tell you when you speak to him, I said, I'm gonna fight him one day. And David was like, really? Why would you think that? You're an amateur boxer. He's about to fight for the British title. I said, one day I'm gonna face him. I know I am. And he was always on my radar, David Haye. I knew he was a bit of a poster boy. He was the money man in the division in Britain, and he was always in my sights. He really, really was. So when it finally happened, and everything worked out, it was just amazing. I look back on it with great memories. And I'm very thankful for David Haye coming into my life when he did, because make no mistake about it, Gary, if I didn't face David Haye when I faced him, I'd still be fighting today, because I'd have to still be chasing that financial reward that I was so much searching for. Thankfully, it came in the first fight. I'd earned more in the first fight with David Haye than my whole career combined 5 times over. And
Really?
that's the kind of money that you dream of. Then for the rematch, I done the favour to him. It wasn't contracted the rematch, but I gave him it because I said I would after I'd beat him. And then I went on and fought, the amazing fighter who was Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, they were both inside the distance. The wins against David Haye as well. I wasn't even
Yeah.
had to go to the judges. It was over.
Yeah, styles make fights. I mean, there was a lot of controversy over the first fight. He snapped his Achilles tendon. after in the 6th round, but after 5 rounds, it was I had him winning 3-2 going into the 6th round. But I told the public and everybody who wanted to listen, they all laughed at me. I always remember the journalist at the final press conference. David interrupted me and said, "You don't understand. You have no say in how this fight's going to end. You have no options. You can't do anything to me. I am the great David Haye. I will end this fight whenever I choose to." And I said, "Okay, David, don't worry." I said, what I'm going to say to you is, can you listen to this one without interrupting me?" And he said, "Go on, I'll give you your 15 minutes of fame." And I said to him, "Don't worry, David, because once I've defeated you on March the 4th, I'm going to give you a rematch." And the whole room burst out laughing at me. The media, even my own promoter sitting next to me, Eddie Hearn, was laughing at me at what I was saying, because he couldn't believe I was already planning for a rematch before the first fight had taken place. I mean, the bookies, the amount of people who own bookies and the people from the likes of William Hill, Sport Pizza, Betfred, Dapper, all these betting companies said to me, "You cost us an absolute fortune that night." Because everyone had just wrote me off. And to be fair, David only picked to fight me because he thought it was going to be an easy touch. Yeah. And you know, like I said before, in the heavyweight division, once I went to the heavyweight division, I loved it. One of my biggest regrets was coming back down to cruiserweight. I should have faced Alexander Usyk at heavyweight, and he actually wanted to face me at heavyweight. But at this stage of my career, it was no longer about the money. It was all about the belts, and I wanted to face Alexander Usyk for all them cruiserweight titles. And I say he wanted a heavyweight fight, I didn't, and I just wanted them belts. Perhaps a heavyweight, it could have been a different script, could have been a different story, but we'll never know. And as for David Haye, like I say, I'm eternally grateful and very thankful that he came into my career, gave me the opportunity when he did. I repaid him it, but you know, my family live a great life now, and you know, it's worked out quite well.
You're quite shrewd on business as well, I hear.
Yes.
You got business in.
I'm okay. I like to keep my hands tight.
You're very proud Scouser, aren't you? If I can use that
Yes.
phrase, not trying to
Yes.
be derogative or anything, but
No,
that's what guys are known as.
I
You're
am.
very proud. You spent all your life in Liverpool.
Yes. Born and raised in the south of Liverpool, Wavertree, Toxteth. I was born in Toxteth, raised in Wavertree. I'm very proud of where I'm from. I really, really am, Gaff. So I love me city. I'm a product of my environment. That's the best way of saying it. You know, I was raised on the streets of Liverpool, and that's why I am who I am today.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I left school with no qualifications. And you know, you hope and pray something's going to happen for you. And boxing was it for me. I just always loved fighting. But as I say, I don't think I could come from anywhere else in the world and do what I've done. As I say, Liverpool is a place that encourages sport. Is a huge sporting city, whether it's Everton Football Club or Liverpool Football Club you support. But where I'm from, you know, Lodge Road, Wavertree, there was very few people who made it and done something with themselves. So in a square mile, I think there's about 3 or 4 of us. 2 of them are footballers. One's an MMA fighter who made it in the UFC. And
Who
then
are
there's
they?
little. So when I was growing up, there was a couple of lads. So Ross Barkley grew up about 400, 500 metres away from where I live. A boy called John Welsh was a footballer. He grew up around the corner from where I live. Then there was a boy called Terence Etam. He fought in the UFC. He's round the corner from where I live. And then there was little old fat boy me. And it worked out okay in the end.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, you know, for someone, a boy who left school with no qualifications, teachers didn't think I'd be able to hold me temper or me nerve or whatever have you. I just plucked away, I stuck at it, and determined as I was, I got there in the end.